stage. Hi guys, great event, great audience. Very glad to be here and talk to Lithuanian ecosystem of startups. Yeah, so do you really need an investment? I know that all this event, or at least a huge part of this event, is about pitches, about raising fund, about venture capital. So I will not be like one of those, or maybe like an exclusion here, and I will really question that. Does every startup really need funding, like external funding, or at which stage do you really need that external funding and really raising money from venture capitalists? So just a little bit intro of myself. So I'm Rytis, how I was presented, co-founder and CEO of Omnisend. Omnisend is a marketing automation tool built for e-commerce businesses. So we help online stores and everyone who's selling online to automate their marketing activities. So we do have more than 50,000 online businesses worldwide using our solution. And our clients are really happy about us. We have a lot of 5-star reviews among different platforms. So that's kind of a proof that we managed to build at least good product, or maybe even a really great product. And we are a team of 44 people and hiring, and it's all bootstrapped. So, and we are hiring now. So this is a link if you would find interesting to join Omnisend. And yeah, we do have 170% year-on-year revenue growth, and it's kind of third year in a row when we at least are doubling our revenue, and this year it's even better, and we just have passed 5 million ARR, and it's all bootstrapped without any venture capital, just being funded, as we say, by our customers. So building a great product, bringing it to the market, and making our customers to pay for that, not making, but really convincing our customers to pay for that product, and they are paying us in advance. So that's how we get money to accelerate our growth and to grow. So really, I just wanted to share like a few questions with you. So before you make a decision to fundraise and to raise money, there are a few questions which you definitely have to ask yourself. And if some answers are yes or some answers are no, then it's only then it's worth going and raising money. So the first question is your product or idea, if you are at the really early stage, is a must-have? Last year at the startup fair, I was talking about monetizable customer pain. So I strongly believe that you have a startup idea or you have like an early stage product, it's a very, very key question to ask for yourself, is anyone willing to pay for that solution? Because I don't believe, and we have like some sections here in Lithuania and Europe, so sometimes we read too much American-based media like TechCrunch or others, and we believe that, okay, I need to grow my customer base, and that's the only thing I need to do, and then some investor is going to come, smart people going to come, and after round D, someone will think about the business model, how to monetize those great amount of customers I already have, like hundreds of millions. So truly myself, I don't believe that it's the model which might be successful here in Lithuania and in Europe in general. It's purely American model. You have to be there. You have to raise money from American venture capitalists in order to succeed with that model. So if you have different models, so you are thinking about the problem which potentially your customers have, either it's a B2B or B2C. So the key question, is it like just a nice-to-have solution, or is it must-have solution? And if you build a must-have solution, that means that you are solving some of the pain for your potential customers. And for the painkillers, everyone is willing to pay. So how to say test it, because I just have an idea. I'm not sure if anyone is willing to pay for that. So just build a mock-up, create a landing page before you even have a product and try to sell it. If anyone would say, okay, I am willing to buy this product, where can I transfer my money? That means that already you have this pain. At least some of the market players, they do have this pain, and you will be able to sell at least for some of the people. So that's a first question, because if you don't have really monetizable customer pain, you don't need an investment. You don't need an investment, you don't need external money to try to find that pain. Second question, do you have MVP? At least like something, minimum viable product, which you can bring to the market, show to your potential customers, start selling that. If you don't have, so my advice would start pitching. but not investors. Start pitching developers, start pitching engineers. If you don't have engineers in your founding team, the probability of failure is dramatically high. You need technical people in your team. So pitch developers, convince 3 developers to join your team, become your co-founders, instead of convincing one venture capital fund to invest into you. And because having a strong team is much more important for success than just having external fund from the early days. So the team is the core, because I strongly believe that idea is good, but the 80% of success of your startup is really execution. So how well you're going to execute, and good execution may be done only by a good team. So if you don't have developers, find developers. Go to hackathons. Pitch your idea there. If someone's going to join your team, that means that you are able to sell your idea. Even invest your own 1,000 or 2,000 and sponsor a hackathon, and make a prize in order someone to join and be willing to build the solutions you need. So it's a small amount of money, but you can build an MVP, which is I believe very, very important. So if you have MVP, do you have paying customers? Is anyone paying already? Because if you are solving the real problem, either for business or for end customers, and you have only very basic product, there will be at least few people or companies who will pay you for that. So it's again another proof that you built something which is needed by the market. So instead of going and pitching to investors, I would advise go and pitch to your prospective customers. Find those, go and sell your product. Say, I have this, we have this is a great product, it solves that problem, so you need to pay us that and that amount. So how are you going to do that? It's up to you. But what I would advise, and what I sometimes once talking with early stage startups, they say, this Lithuania is a great sandbox, and after that we're going to go international. So my advice is not. It's one of the best business decisions we have made ever, that we have started from the very beginning to sell internationally and go to American, US market, UK market, Australian market. But if you manage to sell something to Lithuanians, here in Lithuanian local market, that doesn't mean that you're going to manage to sell globally. But in opposite, if you manage to sell for Americans, you definitely will manage to sell for Lithuanians as well. So that's very important. So go and pitch your potential customers, find first customers. If you are selling a product for enterprise, 2 customers might be enough. If you are selling for SMB, maybe 20 customers. If you are selling for B2C solutions, so maybe 100 customers is that amount, which you definitely can find even having a very basic version of your product, if you have a real problem-solving solution. So that's very important. Cool. So if you have sold for a few customers, does that mean that you already have a channel? I mean, you met your friends, maybe you met someone recommended to someone. Is there some patterns in that sales? So does that mean that you have customer acquisition channels? Sometimes successfully selling finding initial customer doesn't mean that it's repeatable. So definitely finding a channel, a repeatable way to sell is very important. So do you have channel already? Channels might be outbound, channels like outbound sales. Channels might be app stores. Channels might be some relationship, strategic partnership with some agencies or distributors, ecosystems, etc. So there are a lot of different channels. SEO might be a channel, but you need to find one channel which is repeatable, which brings you repeatable sales. And again, to find this channel, you don't need external investment, because you're going to waste a lot of money if you will try to find that channel while spending a lot of money and burning a lot of raised money. After that, if you have a channel, is that channel really scalable? That's another question. What do I mean by that? It's our own situation, as we found some channels like app stores like Shopify. So I'm very, very happy to have my speech after Oberlo, which were acquired by Shopify. So Omnisend is one of the top apps on Shopify App Store, as well as on BigCommerce App Store, on Ticktail, which was acquired by Shopify, another e-commerce platform. So all those app stores, they they were bringing us a lot of new leads, and we were growing at a good rate. But all of those channels were not scalable at the same time. What do I mean by that? That means that investing more money from our side in those channels would not help us to accelerate growth. Because e-commerce were growing, because Shopify and BigCommerce were growing, we were growing as well at a huge rate. But I mean, there was no way for us to make an impact on those channels. So although those channels were scaling, but they were not scalable. So there was no reason for us to raise money to invest in those channels and to scale things because they were not scalable. So if you have one channel which is not scalable, find another channel which is scalable by investing just more pure money. So that's very, very crucial to have those scalable channels and be sure that they are really scalable. Another question which you should ask yourself, and which is very, very important, do you really have proper maps? Like, do you have Excel? Because what they see, I mean, if you have scalable channels, maybe that's the right moment for you to fundraise because you know how to accelerate your growth. But really having a proper Excel and your own calculation is very important. What do you see sometimes when people, once they are fundraising, they just download some templates brought by some venture capital firms, mainly based in the US. And in those Excel sheets, the projection is like, I'm going to grow 10x in 2 years. I mean, is it realistic? Are you going to do that? Like the best Lithuanian startups have never grown at that rate, I would say. Yeah? And we consider those as very successful startups, and that's really good. So don't lie to yourself. What are your expectations? What can be done? Like be ambitious, but don't lie to yourself and don't be too ambitious. Don't lie to yourself. And once you have a proper maths, like how much does it take to hire a developer? Like paying properly salary. How much does it take to really to scale the channels we do have? You already have this experience, so use this experience and make a proper maths. And once you pitch for potential investors, if they sign on your projections, if they agree on that, they agree that it's already ambitious thing, but it's at the same time quite realistic thing, so that's the best way and the best investors to go with. Because otherwise, you just get a lot of stress because you made a projection, you made KPIs, you signed on those KPIs that you're going to grow 10x in 2 years, and you feel that you are just only doubling in 1 year. Oh, that's something bad. No, there's nothing bad. It's a great growth rate for any startup, I would say. Yeah, so all those questions, that's very important. And another thing about the maps, what I saw when the first wave here in Lithuania came, like venture capital funds, mainly led by Practica Capital, startups start overpaying for people, hiring like mediocre people for like extremely high salaries, because the projections in the Excel sheet was that we need to scale. We need 10 people in 1 month, so no matter how much we pay, we just hire mediocre people, overpaying them. And what's next? What I have already told about the team. The team, you have to have a great team, and that's the key thing. Yeah, so if you answer those questions, if you have a product, if you have MVP, if you have like proved yourself that the thing you are doing is really like scalable and you are solving a problem for our customers, definitely you raise money, and that may help you scale. That might be one of the options to go. But there are a few things which I would like to emphasize and to remind you. So raising money is a full-time job. I'm like angel investor in one Estonian startup, which is not very, very common here in Lithuania. And the guy, he's very skilled, the co-founder, main founder, is very skilled, he's very well connected, and he came up with investment fund. Something has happened with me. Can you hear me properly? Yeah, cool, because just changed for me. Yeah, thanks. So he just came and said, okay, so I have already secured 400,000 investments, so I just had one call, because investors knew me, I have already secured that funding. And of course, that was correct. But it took him 5 months to really get those money. Just to organize all the bureaucratic thing, to sign the deal, to negotiate the deal, to get good conditions, etc. So like raising money, it's at least half a year of full-time job for one of your founders. So that means that you have to have this in mind and consider that. So what's going to happen once we're going to move for half a year one of our founders? So who's going to develop a business? Who's going to develop a product? Are you ready really for that? So that's important, just not to, again, lie to yourselves and you know, to understand that in advance. Another thing which is absolutely very important, so the further you go on your own, the easier you raise money. I talk from my personal perspective. There was some kind of tipping point. I'm not sure what exactly was that point, but I have started receiving so many emails from so many investors. They are pitching us, like heavily pitching us, like as a worst salesman sometimes, you know, bombarding with lots of emails, LinkedIn messages, calling, even calling, finding a phone number and calling. So that what happens? Those some like early stage startups which have no proof that their concept of their idea and their product is valid, they are pitching investors. Investors are you know, ignore them. At the same time, investors are pitching better startups, those who have already proved something on their own. So yeah, the further you go, even before you start, you know, being bombarded by investors yourself. But if you have proofs, all of those which I have mentioned, once you go to investor, it's going to be much easier for investors to invest, and the success probability is going to be much higher and it's going to be good win-win situation both for yourself and for investors because they already see the maths. They can make a proper decision, and they are sure that you have a great team because you have achieved certain level already, and the great team may build a great startup and make a great success. And the last thing, which my personal attitude and our attitude as a company, so if, like at the very initial stage, we have raised little amount from business angels, not from institutional investors, so it's mainly from like friends and family kind of thing. And so treat investment as a loan. If you think about investment, about those money you are receiving from venture capital firm as a loan, so that means that you are thinking about how to return those money. And it really makes you think better about your product, about how to sell, how to really accelerate things, how to earn money from your startup. So although it's completely different format, but if you are just, you know, not taking care about the funds you have received enough, so the probability of losing is very high. And if you treat it as a loan, although it's not a loan, there is no your personal responsibility, but just your mindset, you program your mindset in the right way. And probability of success in that case is much higher. Yeah, so that's it. So definitely, it's up to you either you're going to fundraise or not, but my advice is really to go as far as you can without external funding. Thank you.
Thank you so much.